Okay, this is an update on my siding project. Um, what I wanted to try in this project was to reusing the clapboards. Now, I couldn't reuse them completely because they were rotted, but what I did was I cut the end sections off that were rotted, and then I primed the end sections. The other thing that I did was, in the sections where they were cracked, because they were double nailed, what I did was, I took some construction adhesive, I squeezed it into the gaps of the cracks, and I clamped them together for a day, just to close these gaps up. Now, this might seem a little bit sketchy, but my thought is that this is going to be completely covered. These are all in the overlap area. As I put this back together, I'll further caulk these holes, second holes, and also these gaps, these cracks. Hopefully it shouldn't matter because I'm not going to double nail them anymore. Okay, when I put these back up, I'm going to use a single nail so that it doesn't go through the overlap section. I don't like the way that it causes splitting. Okay. Ideally, these pieces should have been back primed, but I'm not going to back prime them now because the rest of the side of the house was not back primed to begin with. So what's the point in doing it on these 5 boards? But I did prime the ends simply because that's where, if there were going to be a decay problem, that's really where it would take place. Okay, so after I cut them off, of course, I did need some new material. I did have some other scrap pieces from other section of the house that I had taken off. They weren't completely good either because of various issues with rot or what have you. So, but what I did do was I found sections that were good enough to make up for the missing pieces that I needed. I made a little plan of how I was going to take the 5 courses, and I was going to, in each section, put in one of the original boards and then this extra little board that I have here, okay, to make up the 80 inches that I need for that section. Okay, the butt joints are not the best thing in the world, and I normally avoid them, but in this case I wanted to try avoid buying a lot of new material. You could see, for example, in other parts of the siding, the butt joints are absolutely needed because you can't run a board past a certain length, maybe 16 feet or so, and in this case I'll end up with 5 butt joints up there, but that's so far away from the ground nobody will ever see them. And my plan is to just be careful, make sure that the joint is tight, caulk the joint, because there's no reason to make this little repair section to be, the most fantastic piece when the rest of the siding is not in fantastic shape. Hopefully when I get around to painting this side, it'll all look perfectly fine. Okay, so anyway, that's where I'm going with this. Now let me just show you a little bit of, I'll use pause and I'll show you up on the ladder what I'm doing up there as I put them on. Okay, here I am back up at the repair site. Now I should say that on the previous part I had put up the pink paper. Here I put primer in the corner boards, okay? Those corner boards had not been primed on their sides or necessarily painted on their sides even when they were installed, so I just took that opportunity. Then I did a little something here where the electrical comes out. I just put some spray foam in that hole and I kind of redirected that so that when it comes out, it won't come out right near, you know, it'll come out on a single board, okay, just to make that easy. I drew out some reference lines. I'm using the exact overlap that they were originally set up for. Okay, I've already installed one course. There's the butt joint. So my technique in this case is I apply a bed of caulk on the ends of where a piece is going to go in. Okay. Now another thing that I've been doing here is I've actually been screwing this in with a 2-inch stainless steel screw. And that's because I actually have some lying around. I wouldn't necessarily have gone out and bought them just for this project, but and I'm putting it in 2 inches up. Okay, there's a 1 3/4 inch overlap, so it's a single nail, or in this case I'm putting a screw in, but I might use nails at some other points. Right now I know that if I pre-drilled holes, and of course to put the screws in I did pre-drill these holes, and I even countersunk it so that the main issue is I did not want to crack the siding, and I probably wouldn't have cracked it even if I put a nail in, if I pre-drilled the hole for the nail, or even just put a regular nail through. That would probably have been fine. Now my plan on these old holes is I'm going to patch those up with my wood epoxy. Okay, before I put a course down, I take the remaining cracks in the course below it and I caulk the crack, or any of the nail holes, I caulk those. And then after all is said and done, I'll, you know, paint it all. Okay. So what I'm here, for example, I have a small piece that I'm going to put in place there. So what I'll do is I'll hit pause and I'll just go through the steps of installing that piece. Okay, here I am on this section. I just need an 11-inch section to put in here. I'm going to apply caulk on this side. I'm going to apply caulk on the edge of this. So when I squeeze in this piece, I've dry fit it. It's tight fit, and I'll just get the caulk nice and tight. When you have a tight fit, you really can't run caulk into it because it's too tight. Okay, I'm also just going to caulk that hole. I'll run some caulk into that little hole. It probably shouldn't matter, but you know, just try to make it as tight as I can. Okay, I'll use pause and I'll put the caulk on. Okay, I just ran the caulk, a bead of it into the corner. When I finally put the board on, I will caulk it a second time, and this is just to get the caulk down in the corner. And I ran caulk up on that edge. I just wiped the excess off. Here I filled this area with caulk, and when I put the next clapboard on, it'll tighten up. Okay, and now I'll use pause and I'll get the other clapboard in place. Okay, this clapboard is short. I just pushed it in place, and it's a tight fit, and it'll stay by itself. Now I'm going to drill a hole and put a screw in right in the spot to hold that in there. I'll use pause. Okay, I'm using this bit that I inherited from my friend. Now it's got the driver on one side, it's got a bit and a countersink on the other side. It's all adjustable, so you can drill a hole, flip it over, and put in the screw. You cannot make a living doing this. This is very time consuming. I'm just experimenting with this technique. There's the hole that I put in here. Now I'll drive a screw in it. Okay, there's this screw. It's just very slightly countersunk. Here's the caulk that I've been using. It's I usually use the Dynaflex 230 in gray, because when you put caulk here, it's nice to have the same color as the clapboards. Then you don't have to worry so much about a paint issue. This is light gray. It's the 230 is gray. It's a better match, but we're out of it, so I got this more expensive stuff. It seems to work fine. Okay, now that'll be all for this section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now screw in. I did 2 courses here with just 1 screw per board because this is what I consider just a trial layout to see if the technique is going to work okay. You can see it needs to be snugged up, okay? But I think with just 1 screw up 2 inches, it's going to be perfectly snug. And that'll give me 2 courses. And then maybe next time I'll show the finished job on that. Okay, thanks now.